I'm Kelly Carter, and I have four boys, and they range from Kent, who is 22, Evan, who is 20, Roberto slash Bobby, depending on whom he's talking to, is 15, almost 16, and then Oscar is 14, almost 15.
My name is Kent Carter, and I am 22 years old. I am a senior at the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, where I am majoring in children and family ministry. I started attending with my family Preston Trail about my beginning of my 5th grade year.
When my husband and I started attending Preston Trail, I stepped out of my desired comfort zone, I guess, and started being a storyteller in the upper elementary side.
I initially got started serving at running tech for one of the elementary theater rooms because my mom was leading large group. And basically it came down to someone needed to do it. I was there, she was already there, and so she just kind of dragged me along. My faith had started to develop, and I was starting to understand that God had a plan for me, and He wanted a relationship with me, not a relationship that my parents has. That's not something I can inherit from them. A little bit further down the road, I was once again kind of voluntold to join the worship team, and that was definitely not something I had ever considered. That role, even more so than any others, I think, stretched me in ways that I had never expected. One of the things about having parents who are intentional and who are involved in the church is that they didn't just make sure that I was involved serving, but they made sure that I was in small groups and that I was attending. I remember Clark Wheeler one time, he sat us down and we were talking about what it really means, like have a relationship with God, what that really looks like from a practical side. And then Clark asked the question, does God like you? And even though I was serving in the church at this time, I was leading large group, I was learning and growing in my faith, part of me looked at that and was thinking, God still doesn't actually like me. I'm wrong, I'm broken. But Clark was able to speak into my life, and I'm absolutely certain into a lot of the other students there, that God's love for us doesn't just extend to a general affection towards us, but that it goes deeper, that He can see who we are and He can still like us.
This past year, our lives got turned literally upside down, changed in a way that I could not have imagined. Back on April 26th of 2018, found out what we thought was probably going to be gallstones was not for my husband. He had stage 4 metastatic cancer of the esophagus. It was pervasive in the liver, in the stomach, and in his lymphatic system. We moved in with my parents a little bit outside of Houston so that we could be closer to MD Anderson. And unfortunately, this was not an intervening moment when it came to health. My husband lost that battle with cancer in January. It was the most difficult and beautiful moment I've ever experienced in my life. But through it all, we kept our eyes on the Lord. And the cool thing about giving your children back to God at an early age and raising them in that way, they also show up for you in really beautiful ways. And Kent, who would have graduated in December from Moody, took the year off. And it was just a cool thing because Kent just stepped up as just this cool brother slash authoritarian goofball who loved on my boys so wonderfully, on his brothers so wonderfully.
Even in my dad's worst moments, he was never afraid of what comes next. He was sometimes afraid for us, what might happen to us when he passes, but never afraid that God wasn't good, that His word wasn't true, that His promises won't be fulfilled. Getting to see that from him, and then my mother just taking everything, laying it at the feet of the cross, and surrendering, even when it's so hard to trust in that way, that helped me. It helped me let go of the things that I was holding on to and trust that He is good.
The crazy thing is about Preston Trail Community Church is that, we moved away for a year. But our church didn't move away from us. They were more closely aligned to us in ways we couldn't have imagined. And the prayer and the text that we received, the text that my boys received from Colby and from Paul and emails.
One thing that I always think of when we talk about Orange here at Preston Trail, and this idea is there's two families that we belong to almost. There's the literal physical family that you were born into, as well as the family of God that we are adopted into through Christ. And it's the blending of those two families, the yellow and the red, together in the orange, that is just so powerful.